Hey there, everybody. My name is Keno, and welcome to something different here on the channel. Now, we're going to be jumping into a MLB The Show 24 series very shortly once the game fully drops, and that'll be a lot of fun. But for the meantime, I wanted to introduce another new series, something a little fun, and as you can see, we are here with the New York Rangers as our new team, but it's not in NHL 24. Instead, we're in NHL 20. And I'd originally thought of doing a franchise mode series with the Detroit Red Wings since they finished the lowest in the 2019-2020 NHL season, and like doing a rebuild with them might be fun. But I thought of a different idea because there's a certain player that we have the ability to change history for. Now, before I jump in to the challenge of this franchise mode that we have laid out before us, I want to quickly say that NHL 20 was one of my favorite ones that I played, okay? I have a lot of nostalgia with NHL 20. Whether it was a good game or not, it was one that I played for about 2 years, because I didn't even bother getting NHL 21 when I saw that it was just a carbon copy of NHL 20 with just the trade deadline thing added in, but broken trade values, deleting or disappearing rosters, disappearing save files. I didn't want to spend, like, in Canada, like $80 to $90 after taxes to play a game that would frustrate me most of the time. So for the year that NHL 21 was out, I played NHL 20 and I played Franchise Hockey Manager 6. Okay, and I'm still thinking about adding Franchise Hockey Mode or Franchise Hockey Manager to the slate of games that we're doing on this channel. But for now, we're doing NHL 20, and I'm excited, okay? This one is fun. I get to play it on my old console. It runs pretty smooth here, so I'm happy about that. And it's fun taking a trip down memory lane, okay? Like, I jumped into this game thinking like, oh, wow, okay, it might be fun to do a baseline roster, but my rosters from NHL 20 were still here. All of the 200 or so creative players, all of the, like, hundreds of edits that I did to players in general, all still here. And I love it. I love taking a look back down memory lane and getting nostalgic sometimes, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this too. Now, before I jump in, again, one last thing. This is just going to be an episode 0. We're not going to be doing any simming or any big moves in this one. I do plan to make quite a few big moves with this franchise mode series right off the bat, which I don't normally do. Usually I like to see how the team performs and how they do. But with the challenge we have in front of us, it doesn't really give me the ability to do that. And that's fine by me, because I'm excited for what we're about to jump into. And we have a great opportunity to do something amazing and, as I said, change history. Now, I know it's been done many times, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's been done recently. And well, I think it's understandable why it hasn't been done recently. He did retire a few years ago. But I think it'd be fun to give it one more shot now with King Henrik Lundqvist. I want to get him his Stanley Cup. This is one of the biggest wrongdoings in NHL history, at least in the most recent NHL history, my time watching the NHL. Him, Carey Price, and Roberto Luongo, and even Pekka Rinne should all have Stanley Cups. And the fact that they don't is ridiculous. But we're at least going to fix one of them here with this franchise mode series. We are going to get the King a Stanley Cup. Now, there's immediately 3 issues that kind of become apparent to me. 2 of them are the main ones. One of them's kind of like a, not really an issue, but one that we'll overcome is what I mean. But the first issue is the King's age. He is 37 years old, and that might mean that we only get maybe 1 or 2 years to get him a Stanley Cup. And that is a little scary in itself. I don't want him to retire after year 1 if we miss, okay? If we do, that'd be the end of the series, unfortunately. We will end this series when the King retires or when we get him his Stanley Cup. It's going to be a bit of a shorter series. If you guys want me to continue it after that, that's fine. I mean, I have no problem doing these little throwback series. But that's the first issue, is his age in general. I mean, he's still an 88 overall with exact elite potential, with an elite goalie role. So it's not as daunting. He could drop to a starter and then his overall plummets throughout the season. That would be concerning, but we're going to get him a Stanley Cup. And I don't mean get him a Stanley Cup with him in the AHL. He is going to be our goalie that we take to the Stanley Cup. It's going to ride on him, okay? He is going to be the starter. In the playoffs, he's going to be the starter. It doesn't matter if he gets a little rocky. We're giving him the shots. That's it. Plain and simple. If we can get him a Vezina, that'd be great too. The second issue, and probably the more glaring issue that we're going to run into, is the competitiveness of this roster at this current time. Okay, the second line is fine. Kreider, Strome, and Buchnevich, I don't mind running that second line. I feel like they'll put up some decent points for us. Even the top line of Panarin and Zibanejad, those two are great. They're a dynamic duo. I love them. Kakko on that top line, I don't think is going to work. He's listed as a medium elite third line checking forward, 79 overall. He is only 18 years old. I mean, he was just drafted in the NHL prior to this season, like in the 2019 NHL entry draft. But I don't think he's ready for the big leagues, especially the top line right now. So that immediately says that we need a top six forward who can slot in and complement Panarin and Zibanejad. And I don't mean that I need like an 89, 88, even 90 overall forward. I mean like an 85, 86, something along the lines of like a Kreider or even like another Strome-esque player. Somebody who can be a good complementary player is someone I want to acquire or target to put on that top line. And then when it comes to the third line, Lemieux, he's a fourth liner. That's what he is, even in his role. Fourth line forward, his individual attributes just show for somebody who is a grinder, who can just throw bodies. That's it. We don't need him on a third line scoring role. Philip Hedl he's listed as a fourth liner as well. He's a little better. He's got a bit better individual attributes, especially that speed category is pretty good. But again, I don't think he can carry a third line. Maybe a complementary option, but I'm not too sure about that. Only person on that third line that I'm considering keeping is Jesper Fast, because he is the only one listed as a third line scoring forward. That's what we want. His offensive awareness might be a little low for me. His physicality not as high as I want it to be. Even his defense is not that great, but he is a suitable third liner if we can get some scoring options with him. And then that fourth line is probably all going to disappear, maybe aside from Brett Howden. Like putting Lemieux with Howden and then finding another fourth liner, that's fine. But we do have to replace two parts of this third line, at least. I mean, we could try to run Hedl, I just don't think it'll work. And then Kravtsov, he's probably a trade chip for us because we're in win now mode. We need to acquire to win now, not in 5 years, now. We need to get the king his cup now. So right off the bat, for the forwards, we need to acquire at least 3-4 players to make us Stanley Cup contenders. And that's just for the forward. Offensively, it's a little better, but I mean, not the best, okay? We have Adam Fox, we have Tony DeAngelo, we have Mark Stahl, who's a 78 overall, Jacob Trouba, Libor Hayek, and then Ryan Lindgren. 3 of those players are top 4 defenders. 3 of those players are depth defenders. Okay, it's immediately, even Mark Stahl's a minor top 2 defender. So it's, again, glaringly apparent that we need to add some defense. I mean, we could keep Hayek and Lindgren. I could run them as the third pair. I don't really have that big of a problem with that. But that top 4 needs to be revamped and boosted. And I already have one player that I plan to move off from this lineup in Tony DeAngelo. He's got good trade value. He is on that right side, and we already have Fox and Trouba there. And I'm not a big fan of DeAngelo, so moving on from him is definitely one of the big moves we're going to make right off the bat. But even taking him out, now we got Brendan Smith, who's a 76 minor top 2 defender. So we need to add 2, maybe 3 pieces to the defensive core in itself. That alone, if we count the 3 or 4 forwards plus the 2 or 3 defenders, that's anywhere from 5 to 7 players that have to be like NHL caliber decent players that we need to acquire in order to boost this team into contender status. Now, the one thing that we have going for us is that we have pretty decent amount of trade chips. Okay, as I said, I do plan to move on from Tony DeAngelo, and his trade value is 5th highest on the team. That's going to be great, especially if we try to do a package deal where we acquire multiple mid-level assets who can be utilized properly to put this team above and beyond in return for DeAngelo. If we wanted to move on from Philip Hedl, he's got good trade value. Vitaly Kravtsov, as I said, he's got good trade value. I love Keandre Miller, but I don't think we're going to be able to use him before Henrik Lundqvist retires, so he is another trade chip for us. We still have players like Elias Anderson, Morgan Barron, Ryan Lindgren himself is not too low in the value. Same with Libor Hayek and Brett Howden. Like, definitely this team is set to win in a few years, but the King doesn't have a few years. The King has right now. Okay, it was such a dishonor to him to decide to rebuild in the final years of his competitiveness, in the final years that he could actually win a Stanley Cup as a starting goaltender too. He was a great goalie right up until the very end. And yes, we do have Igor Shesterkin lying in wait, and no, I know his value is decent. I'm not planning to trade him. Okay, I expect him to be the backup next season to Lundqvist if he doesn't retire. But I am going off of the assumption right now, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm going off the assumption right now that the King will retire at the end of year 1. And with that in mind, we need to build this team up big time right off the bat. If he doesn't retire at the end of year 1 and we don't make it, then great. We go again. We add in free agency. There's going to be a lot of good players in free agency available that we can use to boost this team up. And yes, I could have done from the 32 team expansion draft because Seattle's obviously not in the league at this point, and I could have done a year less. And then we have free agency now, and we can add all these players right now to get Lundqvist stronger. But that just didn't feel real enough to me. It didn't feel like a challenge enough to me. But with all that said, and with the challenge laid out before you guys, I want to know in the comments down below, thinking back to the 2019-2020 season, who you think would be a great New York Ranger? Who do you think we could add to the top 6, to the third line, to the top 4, just to the team in general to make us scary? And who do you think we could technically afford? In between videos, I'm going to take a look at different trade options. We're going to make at least 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades in the next video right off the bat. This is going to be a quick series, but you know, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to just do some turnover to make a strong, scary Rangers team in year 1, okay? Because I want to get the King his cup. I want somebody to just escort him to the Stanley Cup, because he has done so much for the Rangers organization to get them the ability to win a Stanley Cup, just for them not to succeed, just for them to fall through. I think it's time for them to walk him to the cup themselves, to get him right there and have him make a few saves along the way. That'd be fun. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys are as excited for this as I am. I'm going to be recording this pretty frequently because it's fun. It's easy to record. I don't really mind recording it. Honestly, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for this. And we're going to be continuing the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs series as well. And as I said at the beginning of the video, we are going to be jumping into an MLB The Show 24 series right away. I'm just going to be doing the standard rosters once that comes out. I'm not going to wait and do editing or anything like that. We're going to jump in and we're going to have some fun and explore the new game together, and I'll give my honest thoughts and opinions on it. But I'm excited for some throwbacks, okay? If you guys want me to add another NHL 20 series, I have no problem. I'm also looking at possibly doing an NHL 16 or NHL 17 series. That could be a lot of fun, okay? I have the old ones at my mom's house. I have an old console. It can be a lot of fun to do these throwbacks. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been a blast. Again, leave your comments down below on who you think I should acquire, who you think I should target. If you think I should keep any players on the roster, you let me know. But I need your guys' opinions. I need my AGMs now more than ever. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been a blast. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. And let me know the type of content you want to see more. If you really like it, then why not consider subscribing? I think this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much. This has been a blast, and I'll see you guys as we take this team through year 1.